So one of the saddest things is one of my YouTube videos is making more than the apps that I'm creating. I definitely need to move fast in building my app. If I really do want to quit my job, I need to step my game up. So let's get the day started. Hi, Blue. Hey guys, so if you guys don't know, my name is Andrew. I'm a remote software engineer and I've been working remotely for 4 years now. Around this time next year will be my 5th year, and it's kind of crazy how far and how long I've worked in the tech industry. I saw a video recently. This guy was saying that it's better to be uncertain about your future rather than having a future that you don't really want. And that's 100% of how I feel right now. I don't want to climb this corporate ladder. I didn't think it would be this bad when I first joined big tech, but apparently, being in big tech for a while, you can start to see all the nuances and all the drama that comes along with it. Knowing that you're working 8 hours plus every single weekday for this job that you thought you wanted is kind of depressing, to be honest, because for me at least, I kind of had the idea that working in big tech would be fulfilling for me and I would be able to make a lot of money as well as progress in my career. But the reality is that a lot of people are just keeping this job out of security. And so that's kind of why I'm starting to build apps as a way to provide some income and for me to just get out of this job that I don't really like and I'm spending way too much of my time in my life working this job. I would rather build something of my own and take ownership of my success. But as time goes by, you start to really value your time, what you're putting your effort in, and that's kind of how I realized why I should, pursue something else. I gotta get back online for work, but later today I'll share more updates on the app. I made more cosmetic updates and more front-end and UI changes, so I want to share and showcase more of that to you guys. The hardest part I've been experiencing building this app is staying consistent, especially when there's no guarantee this thing will ever make money. I'm essentially losing my time and money working on this, but I've gotten pretty far to the point where stopping now wouldn't make much sense. Each day I'm building, no matter how small the changes are, is a small step forward to seeing this out in production. So let me give you guys a preview of what I'm working on in my app. Like I mentioned, I'm trying to improve the look and feel. On the left side is the before and the right side is after. So before I had just had text for the user to sign in, and now it's a little bit more illustrative here. On the second one here, I'm adding a loading screen and make it more visually appealing. The next one here, I wanted to add circles to indicate how many sessions the user focused for, and then how many sessions they have until their long break. And lastly here, I'm just removing some dead code. I'm not using the profile tab, so I'm just removing that. So yeah, whenever I'm doing UI changes, I try to ask Claude to create a demo mockup of what the UI changes would look like so that I'm not confused on what it's trying to do and that I'm more aligned on what it's trying to do and understand whether or not I want it to look and feel that way. So that's been working for me. Before I would just accept whatever it gave me, but now I wanted to kind of prove itself and then I can manually review what it's trying to do. If I could go full-time on building this app, I would, but right now I'm keeping my job, playing it safe. And if one of my apps takes off and I can actually prove to myself that I can make money outside of my job, then I would be more eager to take that leap and start quitting my job and go full-time on building apps. But again, I'm not there yet. I'm working on this before work, working on this after work. I'm finding as much time as I can outside of work to work on this. This is one of the things where you actually have to practice delayed gratification, and you won't see the results now, but later in the future, once you make more progress, then you would see the fruits of your labor. So that's just a quick update on where I'm at. Now I have stand up in a little bit here, so gonna get ready for that. I'm just gonna knock out some pull-ups before stand up. If you looked at my screen time, it's upwards of 10 hours a day, which basically means I'm staring at a screen for almost every waking hour. Being 26, part of me just wants to make the most of the last few years of my 20s, but another part is pulling me to put my head down and work tirelessly, building the future I actually want. The problem is, on the days I rest, in the back of my mind, I'm wishing I had been more productive. And the days I get things done are the days I find myself wanting a longer break. I'm in this vicious productivity cycle and still figuring out what the right move is. If you listen to high performers like Alex Hormozi, the message is always to grind, work relentlessly, especially in your 20s. I totally get it, but what I keep noticing whenever I'm deep into work is that time just slips by. I'm never really present. I'm always looking ahead to find the next thing I need to knock out, instead of enjoying where I actually am. I really do need to stop and smell the roses and appreciate the small, simple moments in the day. Resting and staying productive are different for everyone, but for me, I'm still trying to figure it out at this point in my life in my 20s. And I think it's somewhat healthy to come back to reevaluate what these things mean in your stage of life. Just got back from walking and it's extremely hot out. It's the middle of June and it's like 90s. I'm just trying to find time for me to take a walk throughout the day, but midday like this, it gets pretty tough. Maybe that's more of a reason for me to invest in like a under the table treadmill so that I can get my steps in. But if I plan on moving out and downsizing my living situation to like a 1-bedroom studio apartment, and I would need to get rid of my things, so I don't want to accumulate much more than I really need. As I was mentioning in the beginning of this video, I'm making these YouTube videos as a way to document my journey from being a software engineer to doing something that I actually care about and really enjoy. Being an app developer and becoming a solopreneur. Everyone should document their journey because it's kind of cool to see where you came from and where you are now. It's crazy to see how far I've come from editing and making these videos to now. One thing I really took advantage of and learned pretty late was that it takes money to make money. So growing up, I was always a saver. I didn't really spend a lot of money. I was more, saving money and keeping what I have so that I can, save for the future. Growing up, I learned those saving habits from my parents because my parents didn't really have much. We were on free and reduced lunch at school growing up. I didn't get much of the things I really wanted. And my parents definitely couldn't afford putting us in different activities because, that costs money. But I am grateful that they did try to put us in those activities. But fast forward, the biggest leverage that I actually took and my parents took was betting on college. So my parents took out the Parent Plus loans for me to go to college. And then I also took out federal loans to attend college. And fast forward, I graduated in CS. That paid off because that led me to different opportunities and different jobs and actually get my foot into the industry. So when I first graduated, I got a full-time offer at Amazon. And I was grateful at that point because I guaranteed myself a 6-figure salary, right before I graduated. But I say all this as a background because I've already spent so much money on my app. I use Recraft AI to generate the SVGs. I showed that in my previous videos. And then I also use Claude Code to help me code. I will be spending money on different subscriptions to help me build out this application to make it fully fleshed out. And obviously the costs are just going to keep adding up, but the risk reward is something that I'm willing to take. I'm willing to put out money up front to build this and see where it goes. Before I was like in my frugal mindset of just bootstrapping everything and not spending any money at all. But now I have the understanding that I will have to spend money to build this app and make it somewhat successful. So anyways, gotta get back to work and finish the day off. So sleepy. So we've been brewing our own milk tea and that's just been saving us a lot of money compared to going out and getting boba. You can see 6-7 bags in here. So it's definitely really strong. Just gonna have a little bit as pre-workout for my midday workout. So when I first started this calisthenics journey of just focusing on bodyweight exercises, I realized really quickly how inflexible I was. I could barely touch my toes. My quads were really tight. My hip flexors were tight. I didn't realize how much it would take a toll on me after years and years of working on a desk, but eventually it gets to you. And it got to me and I realized that I really needed to stay flexible. This is a reason why I started doing midday workouts as a way to practice calisthenics. I've yet to do a muscle up and I feel like I'm almost there, but my technique isn't there yet. And I also reserve this time for me to stretch because I'm not really stretching throughout the day. So yeah, just gonna get my workout in now. I can't overstate how big a role working out has played in getting me to where I am now. It sounds ironic, but an office job can be brutal on your body. After years sitting at a desk, I've never felt more stiff and inflexible in my life. And after a full days of work, all I wanted to do was rest, which usually didn't involve much moving either. But once I got into a rhythm, working out in the mornings, forcing myself to take daily walks, I started feeling more in control of my health. Once I realized that I had that kind of control over my body to gain muscle, lose fat, it made me believe I could have some sort of control over how my future plays out too. Okay, we made all this pho here. We're using egg noodles instead of regular noodles because it's a little bit healthier. Oxtail and beef shank, some carrots for veggies, and some more veggies here. Okay, so it's kind of late tonight, so I won't be working on my app. We took a while making pho for dinner, so it's already 9 o'clock right now. Recently, I've been getting a lot of comments in my video where people are saying that they're actually on the same path as I am, creating apps as a way to escape their 9-to-5 job. And that means a lot to me because I know that I'm not alone in this race. There are other people trying to make this thing happen for them as well. And that just encourages me to continue pushing on as well. There have been a lot of times during this app development journey so far, even though it's only been like a year, I felt like I wasn't going to go anywhere. But seeing how so many people resonate with my story and the journey that I'm on, it just encourages me to keep going. For the longest time, I've honestly had this victim mentality where I see external factors playing into my life and blaming it on them for the current situation that I'm in right now. I didn't realize how dangerous having that mentality was because that gave me no autonomy, no independence, and I felt like I was always getting the end of the stick. And at the same time, I felt like I was always okay with that. But once I realized that a lot of things are making me unhappy and I knew it was out of my control to change those things up, that's when I knew I needed to step up and take control of my life. And that was my first step in actually, taking action and controlling what my lifestyle and my future should look like. But yeah, that's just a little something that I want to share with you guys. Again, it's kind of late right now. I should be going to bed, but thanks for tuning in. I'll share more updates on my app and I'll see you in the next one.